Kobe Bryant, he dialed in how much exact sleep he needed based on his profile.
Right.
And he's like, I didn't get any more than that because I knew I had enough REM. And so he would wake up. But what's wild is that Tom Brady and Mark Wahlberg have 8 or 9 hour sleep windows, whereas Kobe Bryant had 5. It was fine for Kobe Bryant to have 5 because he knew that he was still getting 2 hours of REM in that 5-hour window.
That's what was important.
Welcome to Full Fuel,
Fuel, baby.
Sleep episode number 4. We're 3, 4.
Yeah, it is what it is.
I don't know. It's cool. I just love talking about sleep, obviously.
Yeah.
Although, man, sleep was not good this week. I actually went to an event, met Timmy Tebow. That dude is the man.
My boy. Love
He
that
is
guy.
the man.
Yeah,
He's like,
he's cool as hell.
he's everything and more. He brought the heat. Spoke to us a couple times. But it was a solid weekend, man.
Nice.
All Kingdom focused. So Kingdom-based entrepreneurs came into one collective room.
That was in Jacksonville, right?
Jacksonville.
Cool,
Yeah.
Little trip.
They raised, he has this really cool center that he's creating for his foundation. So it's in the Poconos Mountains, 3,000 acres. This guy donated 3,000 acres.
Tim did?
To his foundation. No.
Oh,
To
okay.
Tim's foundation.
I say Tim like we're boys, like I know him.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, he's relatable, dude.
Yeah,
Honestly, man, when the guy, when I met him and talked to him, he dead straight look in your eyes, man.
just a real cat.
Just a real cat,
Yeah.
a real dude.
Nice.
He was honestly a really, really cool, jacked. Absolutely a freaking
He's
monster.
an animal. Yeah, freak of nature.
Dude, when he gets amped up too, and he's talking, you think, his biceps are going to pop through his shirt. Friggin' his sleeves are just going to come off.
By default, he has to wear those performance button-ups,
100%.
Like the stretchy ones, bro. If he's wearing
that.
a basic cotton shirt, he's going to just sneeze and explode out.
This dude's playing pickleball, dude. He's out there running around. He looks like the friggin' Hulk. His legs were just massive.
5-inch
He
inseams.
100% could absolutely have been a friggin' linebacker.
Yeah.
The dude is he's
like,
got to be 2. If I had to guess right now, we're the same height. So 6'1", little over 6'1". But I would say he's probably 250, 260. An absolute way bigger than he was in the NFL.
Yeah. Well, they didn't use him right, man. They had him at strict quarterback. He should have been Taysom Hill, the guy on the Saints who plays tight end and then plays receiver, running back, does all this stuff.
Yeah, I don't think he was open to
He was
that.
Yeah.
I think he wanted
he wanted to run this.
He wanted to be a quarterback.
Yeah.
That
would have been.
But still,
totally
man, he's
outcome.
an athlete.
Yeah.
He's
multi-sport.
he played pickleball. He's pretty good at pickleball.
He can probably play any sport and just dominate you, right?
Yeah, it was good. Pickleball's fun, man.
I haven't played it, honestly. I played, I think, one time. It was a bunch of old people, and I didn't enjoy it. But I bet if you played more competitively with
Yeah, man. I was playing it. We played against a couple competitive guys, and then I was playing. He was teaching me this kind of drop shot thing. But it's wiffle ball, so it's there's a lot of wind associated to it.
Yeah.
The one thing that threw me off was when I come up to the kitchen, and engage the kitchen, you're supposed to protect.
Oh, you have terms for it now. Kitchen.
They have a kitchen in the front, so it's ping pong meets tennis.
It is, yeah.
It's
wild.
A
hybrid, yeah. It's
and so they got this little. It's almost like a ping pong table zone in the front. It's called the kitchen, and you don't. I'm still checking. Oh, do I come up to the line here? Do I not? But you got to protect that because that's everything. So once you get into a volley type situation, you got to come up to the kitchen. You got to make sure that's when you're the ball's just you're slamming it down, or it's super gentle where there's a flow to it.
Yeah, you can hit a little flop kind of in ping pong.
But then there's there's a lot of rules, man.
Can you spin the ball
in the game?
In ping pong? Can you put a lot of spin on it?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's when you cut down at it, you can get this back spin on it.
Yeah.
And really, so a couple guys were I would go after the ball and this thing would go forward. I'd be reaching for it.
Yeah.
And it would just completely drop out of nowhere. I'm
we should go play so I can kick your ass. It'd be great.
Yeah, man. No, it was a good time, man. It was only the third time I've ever played. And the first 2 times I really didn't play. I guess I played competitively the second time. But I can tell why people get an itch. I'm on.
Yeah. And it's I think it's kind of easy to just go to the court and play,
Yeah.
Tennis is. Have you ever played tennis?
Yeah, but not like competitively,
But
but
tennis
like
takes a
for
lot more
recreational
like
purposes.
skill and time to learn. You know what I
Hundred
mean? I'm
percent.
pretty sure most people can just go pick up
It's a
pickleball
little
and
harder to get like speed on your serve. Like
yeah,
in pickleball, you can get a little bit more speed. Like I was like cutting over it, like more of an overhand instead of like I don't know. I saw guys doing like a little bit more of like almost an underhand.
yeah.
But it's honestly easy to play with women. It's kind of cool
That's
because
cool.
like
It's
they
fun.
can hit it and
Yeah.
then you can rotate around. So it was engaging. There were
What's that movie where the guy's like, "Yeah, I don't play sports with women." What
yeah.
is that like? "I love you, man," or something. I thought that was so funny. He's like, "It's awkward,
Yeah.
do I
What
hit
do
it
you
as
do?
hard? Like, do I take it easy?" On?" He's like, "I never know what to do." I thought that was funny.
It's a little bit more of a chill game. I like it, but also you can get super competitive. So I was playing a single with this guy, and we were going back and forth, and like honestly, that was fun because you were working the baseline a little
Yeah,
bit,
yeah.
gauging the
Moving
net. So
more
it's
for
cool.
sure.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, it
cool,
gets
man.
you a really. I mean, there's a workout associated to it, but
So this is our pillar on pickleball, is what we're
it's
talking
not the
about.
pillar on pickleball. But for when you go 3 days, and I made the decision to like network a little bit more, so I stayed up until midnight 2 nights in a row. I
Mm,
never do that.
yeah,
Like I'm a 9:30 guy. I'm out. I'm
yeah.
like back getting my sleep in, and we had to wake up still. Like I had to wake up at I woke up a little bit later. I woke up at 6. Uh, but when my body's used to a certain cadence and a
Yeah,
circadian rhythm,
yeah.
and then I stay up 2 nights in a row. It wasn't like one night,
Just
right? It
throws
was
you
two
off, man.
nights. It like throws complete equilibrium off.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, man, I was dragging. I was like driving home from Jacksonville yesterday, just like I pulled over,
Took a nap.
took a nap.
I've
I
done
was
that.
like, you know
Wow,
how you
that's
like
smart, man.
you try to tough it out because you're like, man, I'm only 45 minutes away from
Yeah,
home.
yeah.
I'm like, dude, I am dog
Danger
tired right
zone, dude.
now. Like,
Because like you might hit that second wind and like make it, but you might fall asleep and crash and die. So like,
like,
yeah, dude.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
What is the risk worth it?
yeah, yeah,
So my mind was obviously telling me you can make it home, but I'm like, dude, not worth it.
yeah.
Like my eyes were, you know how like
I hate that
your
feeling.
eyes are like you're trying to adjust to the
Yeah,
road. You
you're
know
over
what I
there
mean?
like you're like peeling your
You're
eyes.
like you're like blinking. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're trying to do
yeah,
everything possible.
yeah,
I'm like drinking water and that sustains it for like 15 seconds.
yeah,
And then you're just like
yeah,
back at it. You tried to like smack yourself.
yeah,
It's ridiculous.
yeah.
So there was a 7-Eleven. Actually it wasn't even, it was brand new in Wesley. That's how close it was. I was in Wesley Chapel.
Oh, you were like 30 minutes
I was
out,
like
dude.
so close. I was in Wesley Chapel, and I'm like, nah, man, ain't happening. And I just pulled in, bro. Just cash.
How long did you sleep for?
uh, like 25 minutes or
Oh,
so.
solid. Nice little
Yeah,
power
no, it's a
nap.
solid little.
That'll do it.
Man, I was dog tired,
Yeah.
but going into sleep, that's man. When you interrupt your circadian rhythm,
Yeah.
it's probably going to be a few days now until I get like kind of
Yeah.
back in the norm.
Yeah. And it's because that's something that like builds on itself, you know? And that's why
Yeah.
like over time you can create these sleeping patterns that then become patterns. Like, right? Like if do you set an alarm?
I do. That
But
we were talking about.
do you ever wake up before your alarm?
Yeah, yeah,
A
absolutely.
lot, right?
Yeah.
So like when your body gets used to waking up at a certain time, right?
Hmm.
Like I think about my kids all the time. They
Right.
don't sleep with an alarm. They wake up at 6:30 to 7 every day. They just wake up.
Yeah.
It's like their bodies already has this clock, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like with as adults, we have more freedom to do stuff at night and that kind of thing. So it's like we can get away from it and it gets all janked up like what we're talking about. But if you're consistent with it, man, it is your body will wake up at the same time. Like
Yeah.
it knows what it needs. And that's kind of what we're talking about today with these chronotypes of sleep is like this is like a natural your genetic predisposition your genetic predisposed circadian rhythm is the
Mhm.
concept, right? Like we all have that kind of innate thing. There's some people who tend towards needing less sleep.
Hmm.
I truly think that's my mom. She like sleeps like 4 hours a night, like just like stays up super late, watch TV, and then like it's
She's
fine. And she's operated like that for a long time. And
She's a yeah.
so she's a big like this type that is more of like a wolf, you know, or like a I guess like a dolphin. They use animals to describe these chronotypes,
Yeah,
which I
it
think
helps.
is cool. But most people can't do that, right? Most people do that enough days in a row, they're gonna end up having like some issues, probably some health things.
Yeah. I know that. So there's a couple people that I focused in on because I was interested in kind of their patterns from an athletic standpoint.
Yeah.
Tom Brady was one of them. That Tom Brady, like he went to bed. I think he goes to bed at like 7:30, And so he operates. I mean, he operates at another level. But
Yeah.
another one was Mark Wahlberg. So Mark Wahlberg, he like gave on Instagram. He gave kind of his outlook as when he operates.
Yeah.
And then the third person was Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant, he dialed in like how much exact sleep he needed based on his profile.
Right.
And he's like, I didn't get any more than that because I knew I had enough REM. And so he would
Cool.
wake up.
Yeah.
But what's wild is that Tom Brady and Mark Wahlberg I think they have 8 or 9 hour sleep windows, whereas Kobe Bryant had 5.
Yeah.
And Kobe Bryant, though, it was fine for Kobe Bryant to have 5 because he knew that he was still getting 2 hours of REM in that 5 hour window.
That's what was important. Yeah.
He didn't. It didn't matter.
Right.
He got enough REM that it didn't matter, and he could wake up, so he could operate. But my understanding is that Kobe Bryant is 100% an anomaly.
Yeah.
99.9% of people have to get that 6 to 8 hours at minimum in order to get proper REM. Whereas, like, obviously he didn't. But, I mean, he went through extensive testing to get to that point.
Yeah.
But he could operate at a high level,
and
obviously.
He probably did all kind of hacks and, like, high-level things to help him, like, improve that, too.
Yeah.
Like, the quicker you can get asleep, right? Like, people who toss and turn or lay there and think about, like, the quicker you can fall asleep, the more efficient your sleep's going to be.
Yeah.
Like, you can hack your sleep structure, right? So you have to go through these different stages, which I believe we're going to talk about this in an episode as well, the different stages of sleep. But you can basically, like hack how quickly your body shifts from that light sleep to deeper sleep to then the REM sleep, where we're having more of that, like, because REM sleep's like that processing, right, of memories and stuff like that. Like, basically your interactions and stuff, your brain has to categorize things like a file cabinet.
Isn't that cool? That's what
It's
happens in sleep, is that it literally all the thoughts that, or it can even be like before your pre-thoughts at memory bank, right?
Right.
And your hippocampus is just gathering, but that's what you're doing in sleep, is just gathering all these different things. And then in your subconscious, like, that's when you have like crazy dreams sometimes, right? I think your actually dreams form in your SWS. I don't think you dream in REM. Is that correct?
No, REM is where you're dreaming.
REM, okay, all right. So REM is where you're dreaming. SWS, you do not dream, or do you?
Slow wave sleep.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like only in REM. I think, like, as you get into that deeper stage, you are.
Because I know
dreams are probably starting.
Stages 1, 2, 3, you don't
right.
that. You're not dreaming. As you get into your deepers,
that's right.
Forms of sleep. It's pretty interesting how that works, but like how the brain and the subconscious is deriving all these like thoughts and memories and various things.
Yeah.
During that time frame.
While we're talking about it, let's just talk about this in this episode, and then we'll go to chronotype's next one, just because it sounds like this is happening. But so I mean, you fall asleep. The first like 5 minutes, but not really more than that, is going to be that light it's called non-REM 1, right? Like stage 1. That's the lightest stage of sleep. That's where, like, if someone walked in the door and said something, you'd be able to still, like, probably respond or wake up and have a conversation, but you're kind of asleep at the same time. It's almost like Twilight Zone. And that is like, you want to just get past that as fast as possible, which, like, I feel like I don't even have
it's actually a great napping.
It is.
So, like, that's the great napping, like closing your eyes, but being conscious of the environment around you.
Yeah.
Like, you don't actually want to go out of like stage 1 or 2 in a nap scenario for like over 30 minutes.
Yeah, because you'll wake up groggy and, like, it's not natural for your circadian rhythm. Yeah, good point. Naps, you don't want to actually dream and stuff. Like, a nap should be like 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, because then it'll be a reset.
Right.
On your circadian rhythm, which will impact, obviously, you at night.
Pro tip. I learned this power nap hack from a guy, Ben Greenfield. He's a biohacker.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty famous guy. Great book called Boundless that is one of the better books I've seen. You get like an espresso shot or caffeine or whatever works for you. I just like espresso. It tastes good.
Yeah.
You hit that right before your nap, right? So that has like a slow drip before it's going to take effect, probably like 15 to 20 minutes. You drink that. You go for your nap. I use like binaural beats or some kind of meditation wave audio in a headphones.
Yeah.
You go for your nap, and then when you wake up in 20 minutes, dude, that caffeine has hit in. You are freaking dialed. Like, you are good to go. It feels amazing. I used to do it before, like, exams in school. Like
That's
I'd have like an afternoon
crazy.
exam and I'd be like, dude, I need a nap or something. I'd hit an espresso shot. I'd fall asleep with some binaural beats, or maybe not even fully fall asleep. Maybe be in that like stage one for 20 minutes,
Yeah.
just kind of ride that out, hacking it with those sounds, the audio. And then when you wake up, you're like a freaking cyborg. You feel awesome and like
That's
very
hilarious. That's
focused. And yeah,
awesome.
your brain's just on. So, um, yeah, so that typically the non-REM one is like your lightest and shortest
Mhm.
stage. And then you shift into non-REM 2, which is like this is going to comprise about 50% of your sleep through the night, right? You're going to go through
Mhm.
the cycles. So, I remember when my kids were like learning, like we were sleep training them, it was like they didn't know how to sync their light and deep. So they'd be in deep sleep, and then when they got to light sleep, they'd wake up and they'd cry, and you had to go in and like put them back
Mhm.
down, and then they'd fall asleep again, and then they got light sleep. Dude, it was like every 90 minutes, like on the dot, because that's the
Yeah.
cycle length is usually about 90 minutes. So like as adults we've learned, and even like kids have learned to sync those sleep cycles together, but you do like almost kind of wake up in the middle of the night, like, but it's a matter of like if you wake up and realize it, like say if you had to go to the bathroom or something like that, you might like realize that and actually wake up.
Yeah.
But most of the times you should kind of just drift through that light sleep state and back into the deep again. And so non-REM 2, you start getting into this, it's still light sleep, but going deeper, everything's going to start kind of like shutting down, right? Your heart rate's going to slow down, breathing's going to slow down, body temperature is going to start dropping. So that's where hacking with like the temperature, like we talked about in a previous episode, if
Yeah.
you can get the room real cold, even a bed mattress that has like the cold coils and stuff like that, it's going to help you get deeper sleep faster because it's going to drop your body temp like for you, right?
Yeah.
Where your body will do it on its own, but it's going to like help you do that.
Yeah, what's cool about this too, and just visualizing it, is that like this all is related to our body's central nervous system.
Oh yeah,
Like our central nervous system is dictating
yeah,
everything that's going on in
that's right.
that environment. Because like when you're going into your subconscious, is your central nervous system's like your core index is going down, right? So you're actually subthermal state is actually getting a little bit colder.
Right.
Um, and before then we go into the later stages where it increases. But it's so cool to visualize
Yeah.
like how things are being interrupted in sleep as you go through different stages.
Yeah. And
It's
so,
wild.
yeah. And so play on that, man. Like a big thing is people who can't sleep or have headaches and stuff, right? If they have some kind of misalignment in their spine, right? As a trained chiropractor, that's something we look for is like, where is that misalignment causing pressure on like the brainstem, which
Hmm.
is again where like the hippocampal, like sensory processing and all that information has to go.
Hmm.
So if you just have that all the time, it's going to affect your sleep too,
Yeah.
right? So making sure we have that interference removed, it's going to be a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, just figured I'd
That's,
drop that.
yeah, no, that's
Just figured I would plug that in there.
plug it, dude.
Go
It
see a
makes you sound
chiropractor.
super nerdy.
Yeah, your spinal alignment.
That's how you talk to your patients.
No, not at all. I just had a guy. It was just a guy out here who was like, he's like, "Oh, you're a doctor?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You don't see many doctors with like the tattoo sleeves and the big beards." I was like, "Yeah, I don't know, man. Like,
Yeah.
I don't
What
know
are you
how to
trying to
answer
say,
that."
bro?
Yeah, I'm still Doctor Bro. It's like, anyway, so then you start getting so that's non-REM 2. Once you get into like that non-REM 3, stage 3,
Yeah.
that's deep sleep. Which deep sleep is like, this is where like our muscles start to recover, right? Like if you train hard or something like that,
Hmm.
it's where your body's gonna do a lot of that like autophagy kind of like cellular cleaning up stuff when you get into the deeper stage of sleep.
Hmm.
And this is where like heart rate, breathing, like those little muscle twitches, like the little twitchies that happen before you
Yeah,
fall
yeah.
asleep, like that kind of stuff is like gone. It's done. Like you are like a corpse in deep sleep. You're basically just laying there. You're obviously breathing, but like you probably wouldn't even see a ton of like chest movement, right? Because your breathing is very calm.
Hmm.
It should be very calm, I should say. People who are like having heavy breathing in this stage of sleep probably have some kind of
Sleep
lung
apnea.
stress or apnea, right, where they're not getting enough air, so their body has to work harder, diaphragm struggling, or maybe even like a central nervous issue, right?
Yeah.
That like the phrenic nerves not operating. Um, so yeah, that's a deep sleep is the most important one for recovery. So that's why on like those trackers, Aura rings, watches, they give you like the sleep score. You want like a lot of deep sleep. Like you want to, I think it's what is it like 3 to 4 hours is like awesome, right? If you got that much deep sleep, because it's like you get these like 30-minute like kind of like bouts of it, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I've seen. And
Bouncing between 2 and 3. Is that what you're saying? Like
no, like
you get a bout,
getting
or do you
enough deep sleep,
just
right?
like fully extended deep sleep, like 3 to 4 hours?
Yeah, or like making sure that like because right, if you wake up multiple times a night, now you
Right.
have to repeat this whole cycle and start over. Versus like if you stay asleep and you can use the temperature hacks and those kind of things to keep your body almost like every time it goes into the light sleep, like pushing quicker. Like
Yeah.
it should get like a little bit less each time. That way you can get right into deep sleep. Almost like staying as much deep sleep as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's like actually I did not know you want that. That's your most
Physical recovery, right? Like
physical recovery of your body.
yeah. Yeah.
Really.
Right.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
You know what's also wild, just as you go through the stages, that you have a perpetual serotonin drip.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a perpetual drip. And I didn't realize this until I started truly being present with my sleep, that like you can feel when you go down and you actually are intentionally going down, you can feel in the back of your brain, you can like almost a drip like of serotonin
Hmm.
as your body starts, like there's a clicking period, right?
Yeah.
As your body like starts adjusting. And so when I close my eyes, like I know when there will be a shift into stage one,
Yeah.
of non-REM. And then I'm like, oh, I'm going to be out here in probably like 2 minutes, or
Yeah.
maybe even less than that.
Yeah.
I go out really, really
Same.
quick.
Yeah.
Whereas like Kelly doesn't. But it is wild. Like when you are like that intentional about sleep,
Yeah.
of like, because I have a sleep rhythm, right? Go to bed at 9:30 every night. That like that rhythm is just like pop. Like I know.
Yeah.
Like it even consciously I'm aware
Yeah.
that like I'm about to go out.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Sidebar, you could I've like kind of been able to like almost like hack my dreams in a way where like if you think of certain things like as you're in that state
Mm-hmm.
where it's like I know I'm about to fall asleep. Lights
Yeah.
are out, eyes are closed, like I'm in my last thoughts that I
Yeah.
have consciously. You can start thinking of like things that are like you want to focus on, I don't know, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
They usually show up in my dreams. And it's like I just like meditated that real quickly.
How often do you dream?
Every night.
You dream every night,
Yeah.
and I'm sure there's friggin' you're probably comedic in your dreams. You're laughing the entire time.
Dude, my dreams are weird, man. Like
Yeah.
it's like, and it's always something from because right, like, and that's what we're gonna talk about in like that REM sleep where you're dreaming, is your brain is picture like a file cabinet, and it's like, all right, this stuff's got to go over here, this stuff's got to go here. Like your brain's doing that, bro, and it's like everything has to be in organized fashion so that it can bring it up later because that's your memory, right?
Uh-huh.
Like you don't just forget like your best friend's name from middle school, right? Like that's there somewhere.
Yeah.
So like maybe you thought about that guy, your friend from 20 years ago, right? From high school or something. You thought about him or you ran into him, then they show up in your dream because now that memory got archived or like re-pulled out of the file from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It's in the front now. Your brain was like, oh, I had to bring this back up. I remember this person, but now I got to categorize it again in a shorter, like short-term memory bank. So like now you have that memory twice. So it's like this whole, I like the file cabinet analogy, just makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
That's usually where those dreams come from. And then obviously your brain's got millions and millions of like thoughts and things that have passed through it, right? So like it could be anything. Like you wake up, you're running from a bear. It's like, where the hell did that come from, bro? Like,
that's what I'm saying.
What's the barrier?
There's no explanation for some. Like, where did that come from?
You're like, I don't ever want that again.
Yeah, please don't. You know those dreams that you like feel like you're dying, like you come off the end of a cliff and you're like, oh, and you just wake up in the middle.
Yeah,
those are wild.
I hate those. I hate the dreams where like you're trying to accomplish something and you can't do it.
Yeah.
You ever have those?
Yeah,
so stressful.
You're like, no, I was
you're
just
like
there.
Yeah, you're like trying to run or something and you can't run or like I don't even know. But yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, there was. I think there's a beauty in this, and there's a cross correlation. Obviously, there's a cross correlation, but like how God works in dreams. One thing I've been praying for recently is just like God, be intentional with my sleep. Like I want to hear your voice. I want please start downloading things in me, like during sleep, because I feel like sleep can be utilized for the benefit of that.
Yeah.
And so that's just one thing. I really haven't gotten a lot of, honestly, man, I wish I dreamed more, but that's one thing that I'm like, dude, I want downloads. I
Yeah.
want like supernatural downloads
Yeah.
in terms of like what that looks like. I think doing that like right before sleep, because I don't often honestly pray before I sleep, which I
Yeah.
feel like I should. Um, but like intentionally doing
Yeah.
that and being like, be intentional about my sleep
Yeah.
and how I'm preparing my mind. Like, give me creative thoughts.
Yeah.
Because I think in that, just like the filing cabinet you're talking about, like you're making new memories in your sleep.
Yeah, that's
Like
right.
it's wild to
Yeah.
think about, but
Yeah.
like you're making new memories in
You're
your
like
sleep.
processing them, right? Like
Yeah.
they happened that day, and it might have just been like something that happened, and then all right, so on to the next.
Yeah.
But if you don't sleep that night, you might not process that memory, and then that's when you like are like, oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Maybe you had crappy sleep, right? So it's like your brain has to have that REM sleep to digest, process, absorb, and store those memories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what point, because this is a big thing, because your central nervous system is kicking off spinal fluid, kind of chugging your brain.
Yeah.
Because what happens during the day is you're having those thoughts create plaque formation.
Mm.
So naturally, like you're creating naturally throughout the course of the day, you're creating inflammation in the brain, and then sleep is what creates the lack of inflammation. So it's like
Right.
you're cleaning your brain out,
Yeah.
right? Although like there probably will be some remnants left there, but if you can kind of deflame your brain, you're then obviously prep for the next day, right? You're
Right.
usually fresher. But if you compress that over a period of time, obviously that's where sickness occurs in
right.
the main organ,
Yeah.
and a very prominent organ that you want to maintain. But at what point does that chugging occur? So is that in slow wave where you get that prep? Because like or
It's
is
in
it
like the area between deep and REM sleep, and
deep
like
and
both
REM?
of them.
Yeah.
That's why
And
those are so important, man. Because if you only had light sleep for the entire night,
yeah.
you would never process that. You would never have those physiological like recoveries and improvements. So that's why like these like proper timing of these stages of sleep is vital, right?
Yeah.
Because that's where your body's going to be able to recover. So you're going to be able to process those memories. Your brain's going to be able to clear, right? That autophagy type of let's get rid of the crap, the inflammation, like you were just saying,
Yeah.
get it out and get us primed for the next day. And that's where that circadian rhythm is so
Huge.
important. So and I think next time we're going to dig into like those chronotypes, how we each have kind of this like genetic predisposed like circadian rhythm that works better for us.
Yeah.
Like if, for example, for me to wake up at a certain time of day just works better. If I force myself up at 4:30 in the morning, I don't operate as well as I probably would.
Yeah.
So you can then use that. We're going to talk about how you can then use that to like schedule your life
Yeah.
and kind of like make that work for you.
For
right?
sure.
As opposed to trying to do something that doesn't work for you.
Yeah.
It's a resistance and a struggle. So
Yeah, you would definitely want to make sleep an optimization tool
Right.
for the next day.
That's right.
Whatever that might be. But
Yeah.
sleep is so imperative to restoring the body, restoring the mind, so you ultimately can live full fueled, baby.
Living full fueled is what it's all about, man.
Live full
Love it,
fueled,
bro.
baby.
As always, powered by Nutritious.
Powered by Nutritious. We'll see you on the other side.